All right, hello and welcome gamers to Weekend Rental, the podcast where we talk about gaming, geek culture, and anything else that comes to mind. This is episode 20. We are almost legally old enough to drink as a podcast. Exciting times. If you aren't aware, we've been giving away some stuff on Twitter, thanks to Ultima Gaming. We are going to have some Final Fantasy related stuff coming up, so check that out. Keep an eye on our Twitter feed. I am Ryan. As always, I'm joined by Andy.
Hey, I can see you.
It's weird, right?
Wow.
And Justin.
Hey, everyone.
Hello. So we are filming this live at the Midwest Gaming Classic in our hotel room. That has just ended. The Midwest Gaming Classic, MGC, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a gaming convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We come every year and we love it. So yeah, we're going to try and record this live too, so we'll see how it goes. It's weird being in the same room doing a podcast.
It is, yeah. Actually knowing when you're going to talk. And...
So the Midwest Gaming Classic has just wrapped up. It was another wonderful year. What we're going to do, we normally, if you are unfamiliar with the podcast, we always open with a segment we call Buy, Rent, Burn. Basically, in that segment, we pick 3 video games. We all play them. And then individually, we decide if we would buy, rent, or burn those games. But being this is a special episode, one we're going to try to do every year, because we're always going to be here. We love this show. We are going to replace Buy, Rent, Burn with the Midwest Gaming Classic Arcade Roundup. And we're just going to talk about some of the favorite arcade games that we saw instead. So let's get into it. What did you guys see that, as far as arcade cabinets, blew you guys away this year? Something new, new experiences?
I guess the biggest thing for me was just the increase in, I guess, homebrew arcades that they had. In specific, there was Death Ball, which is kind of a mix-up between Rocket League, iDarb, I think he said Killer Queen. Just kind of a combination of all those. And it's just a lot of fun. I spent quite a bit of time there playing that one.
Yeah.
Until there was lines behind me, then I had to move.
That was an addicting game, though. It's like one of those games like Rocket League or iDarb where it's deceptively simple, but there's a lot of strategy in there.
Yep.
It was really fun.
And then there was a couple other ones, too. Can't remember what the one was, but it's like click and change or click and switch or something. Basically, you're controlling like a airship that shoots. Stuff falling at it, and every time you push the button to shoot, it changes your direction. Kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
A little bit tricky going off screen on the other side when you're not expecting to, but
sure. Kind of. Well, sorry. Tying in with that, I would say like one of the things that I thought was the coolest was somebody was producing a cocktail arcade cabinet that was like Atari's Pong. But they used
officially licensed even.
Yeah. So it had the logo and it was like magnets and rotors. So like you had these like foam blocks on the table, kind of giving you the visual for Pong in 3D, and it played almost identical. It was slightly different. You could tell it was a little floaty compared to like television Pong, but
I mean, the ball graphics itself, felt exactly like the movement of Pong does.
Yes.
The huge paddle, it's about this big that you have to like spin like this back and forth. That's tough getting used to compared to like a Atari Pong where you're just turning like this. Mm-hmm. So that was tough for me at least to get used to. But
you're just saying that because I crushed you.
Well, yes, but
2 games decimated Andy. While he was sitting unknown to you next to Billy Mitchell, the great Billy Mitchell.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I thought that was amazing. Like, had it been more affordable, I'd be like, yes, I need one of these in my home. But I think it was like $2,900. So for that, I'll just buy a 20-cent copy of Pong for my Atari 2600 and call it good.
I have to imagine the amount of moving parts and something like that for failure would be astronomical as well. So like, when something like that breaks, who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Pinball guy's not going to help you out with something like that for sure. For me, it was a lot of games that just old arcade games that I just was never aware of, I guess.
Yeah.
We played a game called Space Duel, I believe it was called. It's a really simple game. It's asteroids, but 2 players, and you are connected to each other. So you have the same thrusting and same, moving around, but...
Sorry, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. We're a professional podcast here, people. Professional podcast. We can talk about thrusting without laughing like children. We can do this. Just give us a second.
So he's over there thrusting around.
I lied. We can't do it.
I thought it was going to be good until I looked at your face.
Oh, maybe for this segment, we just replace thrusting with moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's moving around at a higher speed than normal.
Yes. That's accurate.
And since I'm tethered, you smash into another rock.
Yeah. I was basically fucking Andy. He was like trying to take the game seriously. And I'm just thrusting the shit out of Andy. All over the place. Just thrusting him against asteroids left and right. It was a mess, let me tell you.
I started this segment as that was my favorite game to play.
I was going to say, do you regret this choice now?
Yeah, kind of. I still would take that over Gauntlet Legends. I had a rough time with that. I know it's probably a great game back in the day. Wait, it wasn't Legends. It was Dark Legacy?
It was Dark Legacy, but it's kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played 4-player.
We played tag.
Yeah,
that's about it.
It's constant. Blue Knight is it. Yellow Wizard is it. Mm-hmm. Just, I don't know how many times we heard that. Probably 1,000. Pretty damn close to that. And then the final epic battle was just us holding a button down.
Spamming the dragon.
Yeah.
Literally, we had 3 people just finger on the button, 3 minutes, whittled his health down. It was not ideal.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's... When you have arcade games with unlimited credits, like, they're not made for that. Right. Like, you're not going to have the best experience when you have unlimited credits, but I don't know.
That's true.
Galloping Ghosts it's the world's biggest arcade, pretty much, and they are always known for the most obscure stuff. I've never been there. I really want to go. They're in Chicago. I'd love to go there sometime, but they always bring a few of their choice arcade machines up here, and some of them were pretty awesome to see. Like Tattoo Assassins, never released, I don't believe. But they have one there. A couple other games like
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. We played a weird game called Splat, which is also another sexual innuendo, but
there was less thrusting in that one.
But yeah, that was basically just like food fight, 2-player food fight, and
I'd never seen that before.
No,
it was a weird ass game.
Yeah, you get hit, your head like detaches, rolls around. You have to go chase after your head, pick it up again.
Yeah, makes sense. If you can recapture your severed head, life goes on. That's how games work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think like the thing that really stood out to me this year, and we'll talk about it more probably, but just the Stern Pinball and like all the small pinball companies that were there. Mm-hmm. I can't think of the names of some of the newer ones, but there's like a growing pinball presence and like a lot of these startup guys making new tables that are just kind of awesome.
Yeah, there was a Pinball Factory, and a few others that are more the digital, like pinball effect style. I don't enjoy those as much, just because it doesn't feel real, but at the same time, it makes you feel like you're doing better at pinball than normal. Like, I play a real pinball game, and sometimes, like, I just can't get the ball to go where I want, or, like, hit it hard enough to go up, so it just goes halfway up and just kind of does, like, lame. But those digital ones, you never have that problem. Like, you hit the bumper, it goes full speed wherever you hit it. So that's cool. It's just not quite for me. But yeah, the Stern brought a ton of them. Jersey Jack brought a bunch of theirs.
Yeah, Jersey Jack was the one I was thinking of.
American is I think a smaller one that's starting up. Kind of they brought some too. So yeah, new pinball machines are crazy.
They are. It's awesome to see that continuing to live on. Mm-hmm. And then I think one of the other standout things was our buddies at Guys Games and Beer. They basically took the guts of a Vectrex and put it into an upright arcade cabinet using a larger monitor that they'd gotten out of another vector-based machine, and built an upright arcade cabinet Vectrex model. And then on top of that, they put a rolling overlay. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Vectrex system, it's a vector-based video game console. So basically the screen's built into it, and then it's just one color, white. And basically, to add more depth to the games, they were sold with little overlays that you stuck to your screen. They added colors effects for certain games. And what these guys did was they just made like a rolling spool. So basically, they had it built with a multi-cart. And then you picked a game and you could just roll to the overlay for that game. It was just kind of incredible to see. I got to play with it for 5-10 minutes, and it was really neat.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want a Vectrex after seeing a lot of these games.
Yeah.
Just like, there is something about that. Like, it is still super space age to see those Vectrex. Like, super bright, like white lines. Like, the best graphic. You can't get better graphics than that.
No, they hold up incredibly well to this day. For something of that era, like, they're still very enjoyable. Like, I played the crap out of whatever Star Trek game I think it was when I was playing.
Yeah.
So, really awesome. Awesome to see people taking on projects like that and making really cool stuff. And I agree. I spent all weekend trying to get a Vectrex to take home, but nobody was selling one. So
No.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. There's always next year.
All right. So on to the meat of the podcast. Let's talk about the Midwest Gaming Classic 2018. New convention center this year. We all came down. This is our 4th trip, I think, for everyone. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the new show?
I think it has some pluses and minuses. Overall, I think it's a better use of the space compared to how it was fit in last. I mean, they kind of grew something that didn't work in a small hotel like they did before. But yeah, the amount of space is really nice. You can actually walk around. That's the big difference.
Just the difference in the vendor hall and the arcade room, being able to like actually move around and use the table, get to the tables, use the arcade cabinets, and not just armpits and elbows everywhere was a huge improvement.
Right. Yep.
We saved the armpits and elbows for the hotel room.
Yeah, I agree. I think having the extra room is really nice. I think the biggest issue for it is it's its first year in this venue, so it seemed really unorganized and just kind of laid out. Just kind of felt like it was everywhere, not really organized at least in the arcade and the like, history museum, which is one of my favorite spots. Is the history museum. Yeah, just kind of wasn't what it used to be, but it'll be better.
Yeah, it's not separated like it was before. Yeah. It's not an experience. It's just like a corner of a room now.
It's just there, and nothing was on either the first night. So, like for the VIG, like everything is just kind of there. You don't get to experience it, which I've seen it the prior years, so it wasn't, I suppose, that big a thing. But it's kind of what we paid for,
right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of disappointed by that, but overall, I think it's an amazing change. I think it'll be even better every year from now on out. So
yeah, I think it gives them room to grow. I mean, like you said, it looked like on VIG night, whether it was the new location or just the logistics of coordinating the bigger space, it did not seem as set up as it normally was, which was a bummer. But like you said, we've been there so many times, we know what's going to be there. But I think, it was a necessary change. You lose some of the atmosphere that made the Sheridan location so cool, but then just having like a ton of space in the vendor hall, way more arcade games, at least pinball for sure this year. And I liked that they kept the second rooms. I think that was really cool. I mean, I'd love to see it all on one floor. Whether or not that'll happen, I don't know. And it's fine the way it was this year. That's how it's been every year before. But yeah, I think, I don't know, it's still a great show. It's still my favorite event of the year. So
I think the same floor would be kind of tough just with the layout of the convention center here anyways. You have to wrap around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Where this way, at least it's all on that same side of the...
Yeah, you kind of go up and down.
Instead of around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true.
I do agree, though. I think it would be better if it was on the same floor. But I think it has to be done this way.
Yeah.
I think the biggest complaint from vendors and myself, because we both experienced it, was the ATMs ran out of money.
Yes. Which we've seen happen at Portland Retro Gaming Expo too. Like you had to like leave the expo area and go down the street to like a bank or a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's not something I'm unfamiliar with, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
It's like they underestimate how many dollars are spent at these conventions.
Too much dollars is the right answer.
Yes. I suppose we never really thought about it at the other place, because you have Walmart just down the street and all the other restaurants in that mall.
Yeah, there's a bank.
Yeah. Just down the street, so it probably didn't hit nearly as bad. I'm sure they had a lot more traffic this year here.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, what do you guys think about the vendor hall this year?
I mean, it was good. I mean, I think the one notable thing is that I've never seen this much TurboGrafx 16 stuff in my entire life.
Yes.
And we're talking cardboard cases and manuals and hue cards. I mean, I've never been to an expo, especially Midwest Gaming Classic or any other, but I mean, every booth had 20 to 30 games. I mean, it was unreal. It was just, I don't know where all of a sudden this came from. And TurboGrafx has not gotten cheaper. So, I mean, we didn't end up picking a lot of it up, but it was just unbelievable that all these vendors had this.
It's really strange because here, all Turbo, you go to any game store, you ask them, hey, do you have any TurboGrafx? No way. Yeah, we haven't seen Turbo in years.
Yeah. I mean, you're lucky at most game stores if they even know what it is, the kid behind the counter.
Yeah.
It was just, we were swimming in it this year. Unfortunately, I don't make, $500,000 a year, so I'm not a hardcore TurboGrafx collector, but it was very cool to see. I liked that.
Yeah.
And again, the layout and the extra space was great. A couple new vendors this year. There was like the loot box guys. That was interesting. There was more, it felt like there was a little bit more like the arts and craft stuff, and then the usual mix of like podcast here. State Farm was a big welcome addition. Got to take care of all my State Farm needs and pick up my retro games, so fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of the usual suspects, though, overall, for vendors. But yeah.
I think to add on to that, it was kind of nice that they actually had food vendors
yes.
in there, just having that there as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, why waste time going out to eat when you can just walk around the vendor hall with a slice of pizza in your hand?
Yeah. That was a welcome improvement for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I complained about the music being in the vendor hall before, but now with the new layout and like the distance between the stage and the vendors, it felt like it was a pretty good fit.
Yeah.
Acoustically not great, but neither was the tent, so
No.
I mean, I guess it's fine.
I mean, if you're standing like up in front of them, actually, it's not as bad as being off on the side, but it's definitely not the best it could be.
Right.
And you have to imagine with the weather outside today, pretty much snowing, wet, sleet for all weekend long, that tent that it used to be in would have been a nightmare for these vendors. So I'm sure they appreciate being under an actual roof.
Yeah.
They probably would have left yesterday.
Yeah. Well, plus we had like 100% more DeLorean this year, which that was great.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe next year we can get 200%. It'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. You said the guy drove it here 8 hours.
Yeah, he said he drove it here.
Nuts.
Which is kind of crazy because having to drive back in this shit.
Yes.
Just go 88, you're fine.
Right.
I think one of the highlights too for all of us this year was we got to walk in the footsteps mere inches away from someone I think we can all identify as like one of our heroes, and that is of course David Crane, the amazing David Crane.
Yep.
I could have reached out and almost touched him if I wanted, but
yeah,
wasn't quite close.
The amazing David Crane.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would have been the most amazing touch you'd ever had in your life.
Would have been. I probably would have been arrested because
it would have been worth it.
I will say one of the weirdest things. So the day of, pretty much, that we got here, the news came out that Billy Mitchell was kicked off of Twin Galaxies. Multiple times all weekend long, I saw Billy Mitchell standing side by side with Walter Day of Twin Galaxies, doing different things, running their own booth, being on a podcast together. That's got to be a really awkward relationship right now, I would think. Right?
Maybe they're really just causing like YouTube drama so that they can get more recognition to get out to more cons.
They're pitching for like a reality TV show, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, plus, high score or not, Billy still has to sling that hot sauce. So.
It was full force, yeah.
Yep. So what was your favorite new edition? Anything like really stand out this year?
I mean, it's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Overall. I guess there's not a whole lot of new stuff.
See, to me, I feel like there was a lot of new stuff in the way of like, kind of what I was getting at was like the arcade area. There were a lot of startup arcade guys there, and then Stern brought a ton of like brand new pinball tables this year. Yeah. The new Iron Maiden table was set up, like plenty of them. There must have been a dozen. You had the Ghostbusters table back. I mean, it was just incredible. And there was the new startup companies with the pinball. We had, what was the one you liked so much? The ball.
Arcade? Yeah. Death Ball.
Death Ball.
Death Ball, yeah.
Which was like Rocket League meets iDarb. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Usually they had like one or two indie games there, like in like the hallway kind of. But this year they had a whole room of it. So like that's cool too, a lot more indie stuff.
Yeah, the indie presence was a lot stronger this year, which I think is really neat to see. And the homebrew NES and like Nintendo Age was way more room. I mean, they had 10 times the room they normally had. It was
they usually had a hotel room in the old ones, like no bigger than this, It just Yeah, it
was very cool. And Guys, Games, and Beer, we always like their room because it's kind of an extension of really the History Museum as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And they had way more space, so it was awesome going in there and actually getting to like play some of the games and not have to step over people. Mm-hmm. And they were nice enough to invite us down to their after hours. After party, we got to play Werewolf for the first time, all of us. I'm real bad at that, but it was fun. It was a real fun game.
Time.
Yeah.
I'd never played it before. I'd kind of heard when they were playing it before, but never actually seen it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting game. A lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, like, the consensus is kind of just that it's the same show we all love, and now there's just, like, more room to enjoy it all and more room for this thing to grow and become even bigger than what it already is.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it was awesome. I mean, I'd love to come one year where there isn't a blizzard. But, all things considered, it was a good time.
I mean, for the most part, the drive down was pretty decent.
Yeah.
It rained a little bit, but normally that's when we get the blizzard. So
yeah, that's true.
Drive down, not during the event. So
yeah.
Next time, hopefully we don't have anything.
Yeah. And we got our names in the bag, so I mean, that was kind of, we're kind of a big deal.
Not really.
That hurts. So outside of MGC, what else is happening? You guys been playing anything new or any movies or what's going on in the world? I know I should probably start off with the long overdue piece that Justin and I need to talk about. Justin and I have kind of not really spoken after we played A Way Out together. And without giving away spoilers, let's just leave it at he betrayed me horribly after hours of helping him out.
It had to happen.
It didn't.
Somebody has to die, right?
I assume somebody has to. I don't know the other ending.
I've never had a video game. So for those of you who aren't familiar, A Way Out is the guy who made Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, one of my favorite games of the recent years, made this game. It's the second game. So basically you play two characters who work together to break out of prison and then try to exact revenge on the man who put them there. And it's not a long game. It's very cinematic. And the weird thing is it's like co-op. So you have to play with two people. And then both characters are always on screen. So even though you're playing at home, you've still got two displays up. Your TV is always split. And it works really well in spots. I would say it was rough in a lot of spots.
Yeah, there was quite a few spots actually that it was pretty rough to play in. Just the transitioning. I don't know if we're gonna wreck it for everybody, but
go for it. Spoilers.
There's a couple driving scenes that are awful. That game. Sorry for wrecking it, Andy. Wow. The driving is terrible in that game. That alone.
Yeah. Had they just removed that or made it like more auto drive and like I pop out and shoot
something?
No.
Really.
And I mean the shooting. It's a story game. It's not a first person shooter. And there's a spot where you do go into like a shooting scene.
Yeah.
And it doesn't respond the best.
No.
I mean it's better than I suppose what it could have been, but from what we're used to from first-person shooters on this gen, or even third-person shooters, like just shooting in general. It doesn't feel like it plays.
Yeah.
Like that part, it's like I could have done without that as well, but it plays into the story well. So I see why it's there.
It's a great experience overall, but yeah, like as you mentioned, like it's meant to be a cinematic kind of interactive movie experience, and then like when you have these poorly implemented and designed like gameplay elements that force you to fail and repeat, not because it's really your fault, it's just because it's a horrendous train wreck to control, it kind of pulls you out of it a little bit. I mean, it wasn't, controller shattering, frustrating, but
no,
it was close.
That's disappointing to hear, especially after I love Brothers quite a bit. That had some buggy problems as well, but not like it didn't fit the game, I guess. Like you're saying with Way Out.
I do highly recommend playing it. Anybody that enjoyed Brothers or even remotely wants to try this, definitely play it. It's a good story. Okay. It's worth the play.
Just be prepared to hate the person that you played it with for a while. So choose who you play with wisely.
There's got to be a speed run out there already of one guy playing both things, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
If not, we should do that.
Probably with dance pads or something now. But.
Right. Yeah, I assume the other ending is just the other person dying.
I would guess.
I don't know for sure.
Spoilers.
Yeah, we already announced it, so.
You been doing anything new, Andy?
Been trying to find time for games. I mean, this kind of along with Way Out, way back. It's almost a month ago that Sea of Thieves came out.
Oh.
And I know I was really hyped about that, and I continued to be hyped about that game and kept giving it chances over and over and over, and I just could not find any enjoyment in that game.
You did buy it then?
I got it on Game Pass.
Okay.
Yeah, so I tried it on there, and that game is empty. It doesn't tell you what to do at all. And the missions take you like an hour, and how many different fail points that you could just lose and just fail miserably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and then if you finish it after an hour, you get, here's 100 coins. And okay, what do I spend this coins for? From what I could tell, it's just cosmetic things. So I could get a nicer looking bucket for 1,300 coins. So like I have to spend 10 plus hours to get one bucket. Like, not my type of game at all. And I probably gave that game more chances to redeem itself because it felt like there was something else there that just isn't. Mm-hmm. And yeah, highly disappointed in that game.
I wonder how different with a group that'd be. Like,
it would be better, yeah.
Might be a little better. We were gonna play it. Like I had pretty high hopes for it too, and then I don't really buy any games. I game share, so one of us takes turns buying. But anyway, so the one guy, he was gonna do Game Pass. And so went to do that, and only one person can use Game Pass for Sea of Thieves.
Oh, okay.
So I looked at it, and I probably will try it at some point, but then I heard so many negative things about it. I'm probably going to wait until some of the later content comes out, and maybe.
I feel like it was kind of coincidental with the delays on that, and then the announcement of Game Pass. Like I feel like they knew that it wasn't coming together, but they're like, let's tease it like this is going to be epic. So that we can get people to get into Game Pass. Because when people turn on their Xboxes again and sign up for Game Pass just for this game. I mean,
for that one,
a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to until Andy filled me in on how horrendous it was the first week it came out.
Yeah. And this coming from a guy who loved No Man's Sky.
So you'll forgive janky gameplay.
Yeah, no kidding.
I do feel like for next week. State of Decay 2 coming out.
That should be last.
Is that on Game Pass?
Yeah. On Game Pass. So that might be worth at least checking it out.
Or it's the next one that's going to be massively disappointing.
Yeah, it could be disappointing. I don't know.
It's true.
It's been a lot of hype about it for, not as much as I expected, I guess, but in my mind, there's been a lot of hype.
Yeah, I think if it was coming out on a different console, there'd be more hype.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Xbox is not doing so hot, it doesn't help.
Yeah. No, I've been trying to find time for other games. I mean, Kuni's out, Far Cry 5, just these huge games. a God of War sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
I mean, I haven't seen anything about it other than just pretty much massive appraise for that game. So I kind of want to play that now too. Even though I've never been a huge fan of God of War in the past, this one looks a lot more like story driven, kind of like kind of how first party Sony games have tended to go lately. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of interested in seeing that.
Like, I mean, I've played bits and pieces of almost, minus the PSP, almost all of the God of War games, but this one just looks like such a nice experience that I kind of need to check it out. To me, it's not like I'm not going to buy that at $60, but when it gets down like $40 or $30 on a sale, I'll grab that. You know, everybody that I've heard talk about it just says it's amazing. And that doesn't officially drop yet, right? That's like $420.
Friday,
right?
Yeah. 10 days State of Decay.
Okay.
Yep, that's pretty. Yep.
Nice.
Along with Nintendo Labo.
Wow.
You guys are picking that up, right?
Yeah, I was gonna hit the cardboard dumpster and then throw my Wiimotes into it.
I laugh, but I'll probably end up getting it at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna go out day one, but I will pick it up with my kids and build it one weekend. Just as an experiment. They'll have fun with it.
Yeah. And that's how I'm gonna learn piano.
That's finally gonna do it for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna finally become a musician. The inspiration hit me with this little cardboard piano.
Nice. Yeah, we picked up the new Kirby game. Was it Star Allies? Is that?
Oh, yeah.
So my kids and I have been playing a lot of that. I've let them play some on their own, too. In fact, my son was playing today. When I FaceTimed my wife, he didn't want to take any time to talk to Dad at MGC. But that's okay. He takes after me. So they've been loving that. That is very much if you're familiar with like the Kirby formula, none of those games have been super challenging, of course. I would say this one is almost like Dreamland easy. If you played the original on the Game Boy, I mean, it is just mostly a cakewalk, but it's a pretty cakewalk. And then like my kids, it's like the perfect difficulty. There's new characters to take. Everything's like group action, right? There's like 4 characters on screen all the time. I don't know that it was a game for me, but it's been a good game for us to all play together.
Well, and a lot of times with Nintendo games now, the challenge is more in the secrets and the secret areas.
Yeah, the extras.
Yeah, in Kirby, which I also have now, it's what I've noticed is like you need to have the right combination of powers between 2 people to get to certain parts of secret areas. So there's definitely that part, kind of almost like an exploration.
Yeah.
Go back, get those powers, come back, open up that area, get a puzzle piece, pretty much what it is. But yeah, it seems like it's pretty fun. And I mean, it's the first games with Rick the Hamster since...
Every game needs more hamster, let's be honest these days. Let's make 2018 the year of the hamster, please, all you devs out there. Let's just add hamsters into all these games.
Better than Luigi.
You know what's funny too is like I will say after playing that game a little bit is like everyone was just shitting on them meaning Nintendo, for it's only 30 frames per second. And like I've been playing that game and I'm like, would 60 really make this that much better? I mean, it's Kirby's not fast action enough. I mean, everything looks smooth as is, so I don't know. People get too upset. I know people get so upset about like 1080p or 4K and 60 frames. It's dumb. It's a fun game. Just enjoy it for what it is. It doesn't have to be the best, like, highest running thing out there.
And it doesn't have to be just for you either. That's the other thing,
Yes.
Kirby has, I think, always been that. Fits everyone mold.
Yeah.
So.
It's very true.
Yeah. I don't know. Other than that, I haven't had anything going on too much. Just getting ready for MGC. That was the big thing.
That was the big thing. And as a podcast, we've been pretty busy, doing some streaming lately. And then we've been, Andy and I have been taking up tables at Fargo area expos, which is, it's kind of interesting. It's the first year this has really been taking off in our area. So it's been kind of fun to get out there and, as a group, meet these other collectors and stuff. That's been fun.
Yeah. Finding, people that have like-minded interests, like a lot of us probably feel at one point that if you're a retro game collector, you're kind of out there alone. You don't think anybody else is doing it, but chances are there's probably somebody in the same neighborhood as you.
Turns out a whole lot, as we found out.
Yes.
So it's been an eye-opening experience. It's been really cool meeting a lot of awesome people. So
yeah,
we're gonna try and keep that up and be more active in those communities. So
yeah.
And nobody has seen Ready Player One yet, right?
No.
I want to see that.
I want to.
Yeah, I want to. I probably won't see it until it's out of the theater because I don't really want to pay for the theater.
You don't want to pay $18 for popcorn and have some
No, I can't eat popcorn.
whiny kid on his phone. You can't eat popcorn?
No.
What?
Let's explore that. We got to dig deeper.
Why can't you eat popcorn?
It's just not good.
Oh, you don't like it?
No, I get sick from it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know you were allergic to popcorn. That's fact.
Wow.
We're learning more about Justin over here.
Oh.
I won't move for quite a while because I'll have stabbing pains.
Huh.
From popcorn. Wow.
So if we ever need to like take you out, we'll just slip some popcorn in whatever you're eating.
Yeah. Try it, I suppose.
Can we talk about that? Like what we've been eating?
Oh my God,
the
yes.
past 2 days here?
Please.
You know, coming to a new city, downtown Milwaukee, you'd think, oh, all these different options and crazy places to explore.
Yeah.
We ate at the same place 3 times in a row.
Yeah. And we've done this in the past. Typically at MGC, we only eat at Red Robin every day we're down here because we don't have Red Robin in our area, but we found a new love, and that is
Doc's Smokehouse. And yeah.
we love Doc's smoked meats.
Yes. The amount of pork that we've eaten collectively in the past 72 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pork.
It's disgusting. But
It's so good, though. In fact, we just got back from eating a whole shitload of pork.
it's
Took
right
a
here.
15-minute power rest to muster this podcast up. But it was so worth it. I don't know what I'm going to do with all pork in my life now.
Yes.
Going back home.
I think if we hurry, we could probably make it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
Well, we found out they sell it by the pound, so let's get a few pounds of pulled pork.
Go.
Freeze it when
Yeah.
you get home. Just
I probably won't make it home.
Yeah. Justin's in the back with a big old soup ladle, shoveling this shit in. Yeah, by far the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. We got the meat coma last night, which was like all their meats on a huge platter. Like, so we had sausage, we got ribs, pulled pork, brisket.
Yep.
We had turkey today. All of it is like the best version of that thing that I've ever had. It's so good.
Yep.
I'm not going to be able to go back to regular barbecue now. Doc's has ruined me.
Pretty much. But next year, right?
Next year.
I'm going to be dreaming of Doc's.
Just
Another
gonna.
thing to look forward to.
What if we get back and they're out of business?
No, it's not gonna happen.
I'll cry.
I will float them.
I will curl up in the fetal position in the hotel and miss Saturday at MGC.
Go fund me.
Yeah, so Doc's, if you're looking for sponsorship, you know, we might do that. Throw some pulled pork our way. We'll keep plugging you on the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, this week, instead of Failbag, we are too preoccupied with the awesome stuff that we ended up buying at MGC, so we thought we'd show it off a little bit, at least the really cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start. Sure. We'll just kind of run through these.
Sure.
Friend of the podcast, Musty Hobbit, Second Breakfast on YouTube, ended up messaging me on Twitter about setting up a possible trade. I said, hey, you're going to be in MGC. Let's make it happen there. Get a better deal. So he ended up trading me Q*bert for NES, Super Mario Galaxy for Wii, and Grand Theft Auto 5 for a bunch of N64 games, a couple other stuff that he was looking for. So
Nice.
Cool to meet up with somebody that you talk, on the internet, watch their videos, and that's kind of one of the best parts of MGC, right? Is seeing people that you talk to online, but here we are, all here,
Yeah, we haven't really touched on that in this episode yet, but that is, like, I think to me the number one reason to come to MGC is just like hang out with your friends and meet people that you don't get to see outside of this. So it's awesome.
Yep.
So I guess I can take a turn. And I would like to point out that while we're not doing the fail bag, we certainly did fail our wallets on this trip. So
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. I came in here wanting one game more than any other, and I've asked people about it like every year I've come, and I just haven't been able to find it at the right price. But this year I just said I was going to buy it no matter what, and I bought Turtles in Time. I've been after this one for quite a while. This is a great game. I picked it up off of Bad Graphics Gamers. We actually ran into them night before the show, or at least the vendor hall opened, and they said they had a copy, so I went by and picked it up.
Where were we going?
Oh, yeah, where were we going? Doc's Smokehouse, downtown Milwaukee, for all your smoked meat needs.
Thanks for sponsoring us.
All right, Andy, your turn.
Let's go with this.
We should point out that while Justin is an avid gamer, he's not a collector, so Justin is sadly going to be left out of this one.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll see him picking up is his Bud Light can from time to time. So that's Justin's pickups.
Which sometimes you look at the amount of money that you spend and like, that would have been...
Yeah.
That's a lot of beer that could have been spent. Much better, maybe, sometimes.
If you're going to spend money on beer, better do it in Wisconsin, because it is dirt cheap.
Yes.
It's true.
For some reason, I ended up with a bunch of boxed games from Koei, which are known for like strategy, nerdy games from the early Nintendo days. And I don't know, it's just kind of happened. It was from like 3 different vendors. All ended up with these games. So I got a box of Romance 3 Kingdoms 2. This is a really uncommon NES game if you find that cartridge out there, as is Uncharted Waters. Gemfire for Super Nintendo is also pretty rare, and Aerobiz Supersonic, which I think you manage your own airplane or airport in this game. So
Those are all like your usual like strategy type games. I'm guessing.
Yep.
See, I think what happened is we hung out at that vendor table at Game Fest, and that guy would not stop talking about Koei Tecmo games.
He loved them, yeah.
And now it permeated into your subconscious, and now you're buying them all.
I guess. These were the only ones that are all day almost that were just too good to pass up, though, too. So
Sure. Yeah, because nobody's really... It's rare that somebody's actually looking for that unless they're like looking to complete a set.
Yeah, more than likely.
It's a niche type of game.
If you were in those games back then, you're into them now. You don't grow into these games.
Yeah.
You're not going to check these out and say, oh, these are fun games. You had to be playing them back then, I think.
Yeah, those are awesome. All box complete, too.
Yep. Very cool.
Very cool. So when I come to MGC, I'm always looking for the stuff that I can't get in my local area, and that tends to be the weird systems and the import stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't get to add to my Jaguar collection this year. There was nothing that I needed, but I was able to get some good deals on some import stuff. My buddy Scotch took me up with an action replay for my Saturn, so I can play import games. I bought a lot of Sega Saturn import stuff because it was cheap and nobody else was really looking at it this weekend. But one game I picked up that was factory sealed is The Horde. Now, this is a Crystal Dynamics game. It's kind of like a RTS action-esque game, but it's also very notable because it's got CG sequences, and Kirk Cameron is one of the actors. So I just had to pick this up. I'm assuming they've dubbed them over, at least in text, but I'm guessing all the voice acting is still intact. And I've heard it's a pretty fun game, so I had to pick this one up. And it's just really cool, factory sealed, and the artwork is just kind of atrocious on here. So
if they dub the actual Kirk Cameron into a Japanese voice,
it's probably going to be better.
That is going to be amazing.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm looking forward to trying this one out, and all the other Saturn games, but this one is cool.
Yeah, awesome. Another thing, box games this year were actually kind of reasonable at a few vendors.
Oh, for sure.
They were, hey, whatever the cart costs, you can get a complete in-box copy, maybe $10, $15 more, which is insane on Super Nintendo NES games. But I did end up finding quite a few of them, and probably the highlight out of those is a complete in-box copy of Ghost Lion. I love the artwork on the front of that. It's very much like an 80s calendar that I would see in like an auto repair shop or something like that.
That is 80s as hell.
Yes.
So, that sums up the 80s right there.
And you look at the back and it's like, well, it's not as impressive. It looks like an RPG. But nonetheless, I mean, it was $10 above what just the cartridge goes for.
And you never see it loose. I mean, it's not a game you find.
It's a pretty uncommon cartridge anyway. So to find it complete like that, you got to pick that up for that price.
For sure.
Yep.
So my next pair of interesting finds, again, sticking with the imports, I really like the Wonder Swan. If you're not familiar with that, it's a handheld made by Gunpei Yokoi with Bandai. He is the father of the Game Boy. After he left Nintendo, he went on to make that handheld. Now, it never left Japan, but There are some games you can play in English. I doubt that either one of these are those games. But I picked up 2 box games. They were dirt cheap. Only ones I saw for the Wonder Swan all weekend. And they were I got them both for $10. And I think one is Hunter Cross Hunter, and then I think the other one is a Gundam game. Not totally sure. I doubt that, like I said, I'll be able to play either of them. But the boxes are really cool to get, so they'll make nice display pieces in my collection. So it's a very neat little handheld and affordable if you're looking into getting one. You know, hit eBay. Not expensive.
Yeah, very
worth
cheap.
a look.
Cool. I've been on a kick with American Laser Games. They were probably most well known for, let's see here,
McCree?
I would say Mad Dog McCree for their arcade game. They were FMV and very, very poorly acted sequences of all of these games.
That doesn't sound right at all.
No, it's some of the worst acting you'll ever see. To the point where you think that they're probably over the top and faking it. It's just like a cheesy movie all the way through. Yeah. And Mad Dog is probably one of the most straight-laced ones.
Yep.
I have The Last Bounty Hunter, which is very much like Mad Dog, but even kind of crazier. Space Pirates, which is, you have this game.
Yes, that one is bonkers.
It's very bad.
Looks like it has a budget of like $5, and they just like crafted.
Oh yeah,
like,
all the sets are
space
awful.
Outfits out of it's like clearly I'm in the like pipe section of some industrial building that we're saying is like the innards of this spaceship. It's bad.
Yeah, and finally Crime Patrol, which is probably my favorite series on the American Laser Games. Yeah, they are just over the top with their action sequences and they just.
And I just love how like in Crime Patrol, like you're a rookie cop, so like if you screw up, your managing officer, superior officer, like just corrects you, but just horribly. It's like, way to go, you fucked up, you stupid asshole. I mean, it's not like minus the swearing, but it is that like ridiculous.
It is.
They basically tell you you're a piece of crap to your face.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's just great.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about this. I think I might have to go home and maybe stream a few of these.
Oh, for sure. You got to do it.
That's what these games are made for nowadays, right?
Oh, yeah. To sit back and get a laugh. They're great.
Yep.
We'll have to do a 3DO laser active night.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So I got a couple more pickups. Andy and I picked up a lot of stuff. This is just the stuff that we thought was worth talking about and was fun. But I don't know, people listening to the podcast probably don't know, but I'm a pretty big music fan and vinyl collector. So when I was going through, I noticed right at the end of the show, there was a Ship to Shore table. And Ship to Shore, if you're not familiar, they do records, vinyl, but they've been doing video game music. And I picked up the 7-inch vinyl of NES, what's the game? Adventure of Bayou Billy. So this is the soundtrack to the Adventures of Bayou Billy, which is not a good game, but it is a Konami game, which means the music is all right.
Yeah.
So I just thought this was cool. It's not a game that I particularly love, but the soundtrack is all right, and I'll give it a listen. Kind of neat to get.
Plus 45. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I definitely like it. I was hoping they'd have the Rocket Knight. That's another one they put out, but they did not have that one there. So this is very neat. I'm going to give that a listen. Okay. The last thing I guess I'll touch on quick is I'm a big NES collector. That's my main system to collect for. And I've always liked the Aladdin Deck Enhancer, and I've got some of the games. In fact, I've got most of them, but I never had a boxed Aladdin Deck Enhancer, and I ended up picking up the entire set. So the Aladdin Deck Enhancer itself, if you're not familiar, it's basically like this little device that you would plug mini cartridges into. The device would get around the lockout chip, or the, I guess, whatever security chip you needed to like run a game on the NES. And then they would give you these mini cartridges that slid into it, effectively letting them sell a cheaper game. And I picked up the entire collection, all factory sealed, all of the games. So you got Micro Machine, Dizzy, Quattro Sports, Quattro Adventure, Linus Spacehead, and Big Nose Freaks Out. So this is really cool. I'm not going to open any of these. Like I said, I have most of these loose or partially complete, just nothing in that condition. Not expensive. You know, you can get these on eBay. I would guess if you wanted the whole lot and took your time, you could probably get it for like, I don't know, 80 plus shipping. I paid $100 for everything, but it was in mint condition. And you know what? I just wanted it and it was right there, so I had to go do it.
It came out really late too, right?
Yeah, that was one of the problems. It was really late in the life cycle of the NES.
Yeah.
And of course, Nintendo had a problem with this. Why wouldn't they? Unlicensed cartridges were not really well received by Nintendo, so it is what it is. It's kind of an interesting side note in the NES library, I guess. And it's worth noting that I think all of these games did make it onto cartridges, right? These were all already available on the NES.
Yeah.
And then also in Aladdin Deck Enhancer versions. So, it's kind of funny that they would re-release them like this so late in the NES life cycle.
Right.
And that's probably a big reason as to why it failed and why there's still so much new old stock of this. I mean, you can readily get this factory sealed.
Yeah. And like you said, the regular cartridges, those are the third-party like gold ones, right?
Yeah. Yep. So those are not licensed cartridges either. So
right.
Either way, those games were not approved by Nintendo, but some of them are fun nonetheless.
This one's a lot more fun to put together to make it happen that way, I think. It's the smaller cartridges.
For sure.
And finally, my last score that I got did not happen at MGC itself. We did a little bit of game hunting in Madison just before we got to the show. And we strolled through this game store and we caught him slipping on a pretty high dollar game. And this guy right here walked right by it.
I did not even look. I was like, nope.
But he ignored most of the Super Nintendo, to be fair.
I did, but he kicked me this time.
So we got Three Ninjas Kick Back, which is an incredibly rare Super Nintendo game. It's based off a pretty mediocre movie, I would say.
Hey, now.
I'm not as big a fan of it. But we got it for $16, and we saw one at the show today. $120 for this cartridge alone. So that in itself is crazy.
Yeah.
To find a store slip up that bad. A lot of times you'll find them, they were $20 off or something like that. But to market $16, like, I don't even know what they were thinking. I mean, It has the name right on there, so they know it's not a mix-up in what game it is. But laying right underneath it, to go along with it, was the instruction manual, which a few years ago, there kind of was just a huge influx in kind of the story of this being possibly the rarest Super Nintendo game out there, or Super Nintendo manual out there. It's really hard to track down.
Sure.
That's since died down a little bit. I think more people are like, oh, well, I have that, and they put it up for sale or something like that. But even so, I mean, this thing could probably go for $100 itself. So,
which is crazy because I'm looking at that now that you're holding it up, and it looks like it's all of like 5 pages.
Oh yeah,
it's like one of the thinnest manuals I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's got some
literally
great,
9 pages.
Got some great screenshots of the actors from the movie in itself. Maybe that's why it's so expensive. But yeah, to mess up as bad as just the cartridge in itself, and then not recognize that that's the manual itself. It's pretty incredible. That's probably $200 worth of game and manual.
Yeah. For
$16. And
those are the kind of finds that you get that that's why you keep looking.
Right.
Those are the things that turn up, and it's just amazing.
You don't find that in a game store though. That's
true.
Goodwill, thrift stores, used to. I don't know anymore. I haven't had that type of luck in a long time. But in a game store, usually they're pretty, well known on the rare games. So this was quite the surprise. But
yeah, we talk maybe they got confused and thought it was the Genesis price, but even then it's still a little low on that.
I mean, Genesis is probably $25, $30 too. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, that was the find of the trip, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. It's incredible. Lots of good games along the way, but that is definitely the best deal. Yeah. And I'm sure you were just shaking when you went up to the counter with that. You were picking out other games to bury it in with.
Well, and that's the thing. You come to these things and there's a lot of collectors like us on the road doing the same things as us, coming in, game shopping. So you got to grab that when you see it right away, because the collector that might just be coming to MGC might be the next one in the door and see it too, you know. So
for sure.
Yeah, it happens all the time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know. What do you guys think? We did a little bit of more game hunting. Did you have fun doing that? Or
yeah, I mean, it was nice. Usually when we come down, we just go right to the show, but it was nice. We stopped a few other places and looked at some thrift stores and some local game stores. I didn't really come up with a whole lot, but it's always nice to see other places like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think and getting the early start, at least, you know, getting down the road some. It's nice.
Yes.
I don't really collect, but it's interesting to definitely look around and see all the different games that, you know, I might have from my childhood still saved, just because I don't collect. I still have everything I've ever bought, pretty much. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say we were really disappointed in one store that we went to. Talked to the owner. He's very friendly. Talked to us quite a long time.
Yep.
You ended up buying a controller there, or a arcade stick.
Reluctantly, but I did because he was nice.
Yeah, he was a very nice guy. But, you know, we asked him, hey, we're going to MGC. We're looking for retro games. He asked us multiple times what type of games we like. Old Nintendo, old Sega, old stuff. He says, oh, yeah, I got all that stuff in the back. I just don't have it out on the floor because nobody likes to buy that stuff.
Nobody wants that stuff. He's got a store full of PS2, Xbox, PS4, and Xbox One. Are you kidding me?
DVDs lined the shelves.
Sun faded.
Yep. No old Nintendo cartridges be found anywhere in the whole store. So that was, he was talking about the Earthbound and all this other, I mean, that's the go-to. Everybody says Earthbound, but he says, oh yeah, that's back there. I got the box and everything. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? Sell that stuff now.
Right. It's basically just a cock tease. Like he was telling us he had storage lockers full of games. But then like as excited as we got about that, we realized right away that we weren't going to get any of that stuff because as soon as he went to pricing, he went right to eBay.
Yeah.
So
you have to go answer that door.
Tell him to shut up. So this won't make the full podcast. I don't know if it caught it in the background audio, but basically security just came because we had the do not disturb sign on for 2 days on our door. So they were just checking to make sure that we hadn't raped and murdered someone in here, I guess. I mean, we raped, of course, each
Mostly
other.
The junk food.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But yeah, what a way. We were literally 5 minutes from wrapping up this episode. We should have just let him come in.
But he was already in by the time.
Here's a guest. Policy. We have a new guest here.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, what an end. All right.
Yeah.
What kind of a hotel policy is that?
Never.
See how long I'm staying. If I'm staying X amount of nights, I can have the do not disturb on for X amount of days. Can I not?
You would think so. Yeah.
Jesus. Hilton, get your shit together. What the fuck? Take us out.
I don't even know.
Just do it.
All right. So you can find us on, we got a website. It's going to be weekendpodcast.com. Mm-hmm. On there, it's links to all of our social media, YouTube, Twitter.
Oh, and the newly added About section that Andy put in.
Yep.
You can learn more about all the gamers. We got a little bio on each of us and our social media stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, check that out. And again, we have sponsor from Ultimate Gaming. So definitely, check out our Twitter. Enter in contests that we have going on.
Our unofficial sponsor, Doc's Steakhouse. Doc's.
We're looking to make this official. So Doc's, hit us up. Hit us up at our email, which is what?
It is weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And
let us know what all your smoked meat needs.
Yeah, we take pulled pork in form of payment.
Yep.
And anybody else, if you want to send comments, questions, pictures,
please do.
Send them. And as always, be kind, rewind.
See ya.
Bananas.
Bananas.
Andy.
Bananas.
God damn.